This screen right here, okay, you got within the last 12 months, property type industrial, there was 3,688 properties that traded. I
Mhm.
love seeing this because I love seeing things where if I got 1% market share, I can still do, I mean, dude, 30 deals a year is well over
Yeah.
$1 million. Like this is probably a market where you could comfortably do 2 to 3 million bucks a year easily. Right, like that is achievable in your marketplace within the next few years. Like at least it could support it is what I'm trying to say. Because some areas people look at, they're like, oh, I'm just going to do business in River. Like, watch this, right? Riverside. This is what most brokers do, right? They go, I'm a broker in Riverside. It's like, okay, in the last 12 months, there's only 383 properties. If you took 3%, or sorry, 1% market share was my metric, you'd be doing 3 or 4 deals a year, which is barely anything. So I like to be like, there's not enough business in this one market, which is why I'm trying to say, I just say you 10x your market share, right? You could just immediately 10x your capacity in that market. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second.
I see.
Okay. So any warehouse, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to check warehouses. Obviously, you're only going to do industrial, but you're going to do industrial and you're going to expand two things, okay, geographically. Number two, though, is that what you're going to do is that you're going to expand when it comes to making sure. Sorry, what I'll do here is I'll do sales price over $1 million. So when it last sold, I know I could sort this by the way in Reanime. Some of these other platforms you can't do this by the way, but I want to do something that sold previously for over $1 million because what that does is controls my sales price because I want to stop selling stuff that's under $1 million.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
No doubt.
So you're going to sort by properties that have traded last over $1 million. Two, you're going to sort by stuff that hasn't traded in at least 10 years. Okay. Hasn't sold in 10 years. And I'm telling you, that's all I want you to think about. You don't need to worry about anything else. Industrial buildings that sold for, and probably the only other thing maybe is square footage, but sometimes the square footage isn't accurate anyways. Sold for more than $1 million when it last traded. Okay. One. Two, it hasn't sold in 10 years. Three, that's the greater MSA. Four, industrial only. That's it. That's it.
Done.
And then every property on that list, which is probably several, I mean, probably tens of thousands of properties. I mean, let me see here. 8,400 properties. Hasn't sold in the last 10 years. When it did sell, it was over $1 million. In Reonomy, I have over 8,000 properties in that greater MSA area. And if I just check off a box, which includes a phone number, I now have 7,698 properties. So I'm saying you got a database basically of 8,000 properties to target.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
Which is a great database. Okay.
Yeah.
So that means you're going to export this list by however many you can at a time, and you're just going to start prospecting. You want 2 leads a day. Because think about it. What you're going to do is if that means 2 leads a day, because obviously every phone call you make, you're not going to connect with the owner every single time, right? You'll make 200 calls. You speak with 20 people. Two of them are leads. There's your metric. That's it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so I know we're coming up on 7 o'clock here on my time. So what we're going to do now is that now you're at 12:30 ish in the afternoon. Okay. Maybe call it 1 o'clock at the latest, whatever it takes to get to 2 leads. I
Hmm.
would always recommend you're eating at your desk. I eat here. It sounds looks like you got some lunch behind you, right? Like you bring your lunch every day. Cool.
Yeah,
Amazing.
typically.
Amazing. So I just like to say, like, because most people just leave and they go out for an hour and 30 minutes for lunch. It makes no sense. You're wasting time. So now 1 o'clock rolls around. The next 30 minutes, the entire purpose of the next 30 minutes after your prospecting session is for follow up and follow up only. You have 30 minutes. What I'll do is I'll go on my phone. I'll set a timer, 30 minutes. I still can't respond to emails. I still cannot handle anything else. I got 30 minutes left. From the second I finish all my calls, I have to do my follow up. I'm
Okay.
going to handle my follow up now. Now, in my follow up, that is just for leads that I've generated in the past that I have to get back to. You got 30 minutes. And I like doing timers because it puts time in perspective versus people are just thinking I have infinite time. I can do whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. It's like, hey, just like I'm at the gym, I'm focused. I'm at the gym, right? Or if you're doing prayer, I'm not doing anything else. I'm praying, right? Like I'm doing my thing, right? So I like everything I do, I try to do it similar. So now for 30 minutes, you're just gonna do follow-up. You got that handled. For the entire rest of the day, okay? I'll even say this. Let me say it this way. The next 30 minutes after your 30 minutes of follow-up, start your timer again, and you're gonna do just cleanup, which is following up with your emails, reaching back out to all the people who called you. Like this is just mental cleanup. Okay. Everything you have to call back your wife if she called you, like whatever you got to do. Right. So this is just answer all your emails, your text messages. Now you can get back to people. Okay. You were like, hey, I just spent all this time on me and my business. Now I get to follow up with other people and get distracted for 30 minutes. You're going to handle all that. You got 30 minutes to clean up your email, get back to everybody, do your thing. Okay. Maybe even go back to your red flags. If you didn't get a hold of it in the morning, you now have it from call it 1 o'clock or 1:30 for 30 minutes. Then now the entire rest of the afternoon, which is 2 to 4 o'clock. The whole purpose of from 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon is offer generation. On my post-it note every day, I write 2 offers a day. 2 offers means I am calling a buyer to get an offer on something, right? Which just means I'm trying to now sell the deals that I generated. Think about how cool this is, right? Your whole morning, you got organized right away. You handed some red flags. During your prospecting session, you generated the 2 leads like you're supposed to. You did your follow-up. You got cleaned up there. Then you got into a whole day cleanup, mental cleanup, right? You handled all your text messages, your emails. Then you got into 2 hours of pure offer generation. Their goal, again, 2 offers a day. The reason why I always like to go for 2 is because a lot of people go like, oh, yeah, I did it in 5 minutes. I got an offer. I can go home now, right? Like, try to go for 2. If you do that every day, it's impossible not to make a ton of money in this business. Let's just be honest. Like yesterday, as an example, I wrote up 4 starter offers, which means offers that I had to start the negotiation with from offers from me. And then I also wrote up 6 true offers from actual buyers who are looking to transact on deals. That was me personally. My team did about, 15 times that. So it's like every day, that's what we're trying to chase, right? 2 seller leads a day, 2 offers a day. Now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You did everything I just mentioned. Okay. You got your 2 offers now. You really pushed as hard as you possibly can to try to sell some of the deals that you have, right? Your listed active listings, right? As an example, or your leases or whatever it is. Like obviously we're talking sales for a second. And you're trying to sell your off market deals as well. Like this is the whole purpose of that time, right? Because I do basically 100% off market deals. I have an off-market lead list of all of my active deals, quote unquote. And I take that entire list and all I'm doing for 2 hours in the afternoon, right? Every one of my agents, 2 hours in the afternoon, all they're doing is trying to sell those active deals. And if you don't have a buyer for something, I'm calling up people who just bought something in the last 12 months in that local area. And I say, hey, Bob, you just bought a property in the last, in like 6 months ago, 123 Main Street. I have a property at 127 Main Street, very similar property. Just curious if you'd be open to buying another property in the market. Now, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What time would you feel comfortable leaving the office if I said like $1 million version of you?
6.
Okay, cool. From 4 to 6 p.m., you have 2 options and 2 options only, my friend. This is for client meetings. So you book all your meetings going forward, 4 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Why do you think I do this?
Stay focused with the lead generation.
I just don't get to be distracted. Nobody can distract me from my day. If I want to meet with somebody, I say, listen, I can do 4. I can do 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. What works better? Or 4:30 or 5:30. Sorry, that's like typical times, right? 4:30 or 5:30. I got some time to go meet them. And typically, if you tell, by the way, if you look at it, it's like a really far property. 5:30.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, so you always got to, obviously adjust whatever you got to do. And listen, if hypothetically you got to leave 30 minutes early, it's okay. But because think about how amazing you're going to feel in your body knowing, hey, look at everything I've accomplished today. And then you're like, okay, now I'm going to go meet that client, and then I can go home from that client. Okay, I don't need to go back to the office and then go home. Okay, that's why I also like to do it. I get to stay focused for as long as possible. Focused work equals money. So that those 2 hours in the afternoon, client appointments, or I said you have 2 options, right? Client appointments, you get back to prospecting or selling deals again. It's I would call it flex time. It's either prospecting, lead generation time, or it's meeting with clients. And that's it. And by the way, what happens during that entire day, an average agent with your type of experience level should be earning somewhere between $300 to $1 million a year in almost any marketplace around the country. 2 seller leads a day, 2 offers a day. You meet your clients in the afternoon. It's hard to screw it up. So what I want to do, I wrote down like a perfect millionaire version of you day.
Yeah.
The next 90 days, the goal is to do that perfect schedule as many times as you can. I'm not saying you're not going to get sick. I'm not saying things are going to happen. I'm not saying things are going to come up, right? Family stuff, whatever, vacations, whatever. I understand. But I want you to do it as often as you possibly can. If you can do 80% of your days like that, do you think you'll make more money?
Absolutely.
It'll be hard not to. So all I want you to do is like, when do you think you can start doing that typical schedule?
Starting next week, Monday.
Monday. Amazing. So what's going to happen now? Time for accountability. In the chat, in the WhatsApp group, which you will be added to shortly if you haven't been added already. What I want you to do is in the wins category. Okay, there's a wins channel. All I want you to do every single day is I just want you to log your wins, which is, hey, I generated 2 seller leads today, or whatever. All I want you to think about is like, because there's a bunch of people in there, I don't want you to care about anybody else. It's just you and I in the wins chat. Pretend like it's just you and me. But I like to it's a really easy way for me to stay organized and for you to just have a really nice, easy place for you to put it. And all I want you to do is write down all your wins from that day. Hey, I hit my, I did, call it your millionaire schedule. I checked every box from my millionaire schedule. I generate 2 leads today. I made $427 today. I pitched, I got 2 written offers today, whatever. Write it all down. I want you to write it down and pretend like it's just you and me in that chat. And you're going to text me in that chat out loud. Okay. Every day, Monday through Friday. That's all I want you to do. So it's just you and me. Don't worry about anybody else. That's all I want you to think about.
So all the listings that I have and people that are calling for to go and tour, I have
At
to
6 o'clock.
put them off till later in the afternoon.
Because what'll happen is that if you go any other time or you go on a weekend. So I'm just saying what happens though is that you end up screwing your whole day. And think about it. I would even tell you, because again, like tenant rep work, right? You're saying. So what I would say is 2 days a week. I'm also okay with you doing an hour or two early because I know California is really tough with traffic. I would say an hour or two early. So like you can move. You got to take your whole day. Remember, like what you have to do every day doesn't change. You still got to do the same tasks, but you can leave an hour early, right? Like you can do an appointment at 3:30 and maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays. The problem is when you start eating into the rest of your day, you start getting really unproductive. Like as an example, what I'll do a lot of the times with people is I'll say like, listen, you got 4 time slots that you can book meetings. If it's not 4 to 6, you get to put the 4 time slots in one of a few different locations. It's either a weekend or one day a week. You can burn. You can burn one day a week, but you can't burn 4. Because what happens is most people are like, oh, I get to the office and then I get a phone call from a guy who wants to go tour a property 2.5 hours away. All of a sudden I'm gone for 5.5 hours. I come back. I didn't make any calls yet. Now I check my emails and I leave. So
Yeah, that's pretty typical of my day.
I understand. And that's why you'll get stuck at your income levels. So it's like the person who earns 7 figures, right? The version of you who does that is going to be someone who's so freaking disciplined with their schedule, nothing is going to block it out. Treat like everything like you do your devotion time. Because if you treat it the same way, you will see major levels of success.